Hello, I am Dr. Marcea Whittaker. I am your life and business coach, and today's topic is entitled The Antidote for Living Unlimited, Unlocking a Life of Generosity, Greatness, and Growth. And I wanted to know, have you ever felt deep down that there was more for you, but there was something invisible that was holding you back, that was pulling you down? So I'm talking about that quiet internal nudge that says, this isn't all that's here. I was made for more than this, but somehow you still don't move. Proverbs 11:25, it says, the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Now, many people hear that scripture and think it's only about the money. And I don't think so. I think God is talking about a posture, a way of a living, a way of showing up, because here's the truth. Most people aren't living small because they want to. There's a tiny house craze, but usually there's a reason why they're living tiny. They're living limited because life, culture, fear, and even trauma taught them one thing, and that is to withhold. So I want somebody to say withhold, okay? And here is what I'm talking about. We're either withholding our voices, we're withholding our truth, we're withholding our gifts, we're withholding who we are. But today, we're going to break out of that. Is that okay with you? Is that okay? Just say yes, say yes if that's okay with you. Now, the problem is that we are living limited. And so let's talk about what actually keeps leaders stuck. We don't get stuck because we're not gifted. We don't get stuck because, you said we don't have the talent. We get stuck because we're believing the lies. Which lies? And there's going to be three that I'm going to share with you today. The first one is that the first lie is that I'm not enough. Okay, have you ever said that? Of course we have. But what's even worse is that there's also the whisper. And that whisper says that you don't belong in that room. It's the whisper that says, don't speak up. They know more than you. And it's the whisper that says, don't shine because you might make someone else uncomfortable. Anyone ever been in a room and you shrunk, even though that room was built for your voice? Yeah. Joe, I have a birthmark on my face, and I sometimes on the camera you can't really see it. But it taught me this lie very early. I thought that if I spoke up, people would look at me weird. If I showed up, people would stare and make fun of me. And so I did what most folks would do in that situation, which is to shrink, to hide. And I whispered my life away with those voices that would continue to come. Some of you have been whispering your calling, whispering your leadership role. The second lie that I want to talk about is that I don't have enough. Now, this lie makes you hoard opportunities instead of creating new ones. You may think, I don't have enough money to do that, or I don't have enough connections, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough confidence. But let me help you today. You don't have to have it all to start. You just need the courage to take the one next step. Now, that third lie is that I missed my moment. Now, this lie right here, this lie convinces you that other people are winning faster, that if it didn't happen by now, it won't happen. And God must have skipped my seat. I'm too far behind. I can't go faster. But I want you to hear me. If you're still breathing, you're still becoming. Your moment hasn't passed. Your moment is preparing you. And so these lies form the invisible cages that we box ourselves in. Gifted leaders, brilliant men and women, anointed voices, we are locked inside. But guess what? Not today. Today, we're going to break the lock and we're going to get to the antidote, okay, for living limited. I wonder if you could guess what that is. The antidote isn't more hustle, okay? The antidote isn't grinding harder. Guess what it is? The antidote is generosity that starts with how you treat you, okay? Because you cannot lead boldly while you live stingily with your identity. Have we been living stingy with our identity? I want you to let that sink in, huh? So let me give you the 3 cures for a limited life. The first one is clarity in your identity. You cannot give what you have not embraced. Who are you behind the mask that we put on? Where have we need to go beyond our expectations and beyond the title that we have? When you know who you are, you stop asking for permission to be him or her. Okay, we stop asking for permission and we just do it. We just show up in this space. God didn't call you to be beige. He called you to be bold. And so I want you to just, if you're taking notes, write this down. It says, I am becoming unapologetically me. It's a process, but you can do it. Okay. The second cure is courage in decision making. Okay. Courage in decision making. Bold decisions break small cycles. And those generous leaders are generous with their yes. Okay. Even with their no, and we can unpack that at a later time, but also they are generous with their boundaries, their visibility, and their vulnerability. And so I want you to ask yourself this daily. What would the courageous version of me choose? Right? Because different decisions lead to a different destiny. You can't stay safe and become great. You can't stay silent and become seen. Now, the third cure is contribution through platform. Your platform isn't a stage, it's a service. Your story is not just yours, but it's someone else's roadmap. Every pain you survived is now a paragraph in someone else's survival guide. And when you stop hiding, you start healing others. And that, my friends, is generosity. But let me be transparent. I spent decades living limited. It's just one of those things that's part of my story. I was born with this birthmark on my face. It's a greenish kind of thing that's over my forehead. And I learned early not to draw attention to myself. I learned early not to speak loudly. I learned early not to stand out. And I learned early not to shine. Then later, some things in life would come. I would get divorced. My parents would die in a horrific car accident. There would be transitions in my life. There were moments where life said, stay small. But one day, I made a decision. And I decided I was done living under limits. And I was done just whispering my destiny. And I was done with giving permission or asking for permission to be who God had already confirmed I would be. And when that happened, I stepped out, and that's when new stages opened. That's when new partnerships were formed. That's when new clients found me. That's when new movements were born. That's when my voice became my platform. And so I stopped living limited and I started living legacy. I want you to write that down. Stop living limited and start living legacy. Now, I'm going to be generous with you. We talked about platforms. And if there's something in this message that kind of stirred you, that made you kind of lean in a little bit, if you felt that internal yes, if you're tired of shrinking and your next step appears clearer, I want to give you an option, a free gift, and it is a 3-day Create Your Stage boot camp. And in that boot camp, I'm going to show you how to turn your pain into a powerful signature story, how to build a platform that amplifies your voice, how to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, and how to stop waiting for a stage, but create the room yourself. Now, here are the perks. 1 is free, 2 is strategic, and 3 is soul shifting. And it is for women entrepreneurs or aspiring women entrepreneurs. And so I want you to register at drmarcea.com, and that is spelled Marcea, and that is / create your stage. Because when you create your stage, you stop waiting for a seat at the table and you build the whole entire room. So today, make a decision. No more shrinking, no more withholding, no more delay. The world doesn't need the muted, minimized, limited version of you. We don't need that, okay? The world needs the generous, the authentic, and the bold you. So let's declare this together. I want you to repeat after me. I speak freely. I give fully. I rise boldly. I am the antidote to living limited. Thank you so much. I am Dr. Marcea. It has been a pleasure being with you. Let's please connect. drmarcea.com / create your stage. Take care.